Let's go into our best and worst as we continue to recap week 8 of the NFL slate. Chase, so go ahead and hit me with your best of week 8.
Yeah. My best is the reason we skipped our Sunday night football preview. My best is Justin Herbert in the first quarter. That guy was on fire, right? He went 11 for 11, 120 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. He didn't miss a pass until 8 minutes left in the game. Right? 8 minutes left. I'm sorry, in the second quarter, in the first half. 8 minutes left. He was 100%, right? And he just lit it up again. He's playing a very, very sad team, the Chicago Bears, with really nothing to win for, right? They got everything to lose for. They're rebuilding. But still, when you do that, it is still impressive, right? These are still NFL players, right? It's still tough to win games. Teams have lost, the Bears have a win. So they have 2 wins actually, right? They beat the Raiders and the Commanders. So anytime you get a win, it's a good day. And anytime it looks like that with a win, especially a struggling Chargers team, that was an impressive victory for looking that good, right? There's teams that just scraped away at the Bears. So anytime you go perfect from the first quarter, you're going to get my best.
Yeah, I mean, he ball out there. He said, listen, whenever I'm playing a bad team, I can ball out and show you what I got. So he did, right? Listen, that's what you got to do against bad teams. You kind of got to get out there, and it's just going to be one of those things where you kind of get your mind right. Like, we played poorly against Kansas City the week before. We have a chance here in your prime time to play a really bad team in the Bears. We got to get back on track, and they were able to do that. So we'll see what that does moving forward, right? They got to match up against the Jets that we'll preview coming up, but yeah, no, that was good. My game ball for offense, I got to go with the Rook.
Game ball or best? We're doing best.
We're doing best and worst. Thanks, bro. I'll skip ahead. So, backtrack. My best is going to be the Dallas Cowboys. And now y'all know how big of a fan I am of the Dallas Cowboys. Not at all. But I got to give props where props are due. Dak Prescott balled out. 304 yards, 4 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb balled out. 12 receptions, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then the defense. 30-yard interception, return for a touchdown, and a safety. All of the Dallas Cowboys, from front end to back, every single man on that roster, offense, defense, special teams, put on a show and just dominated from start to finish. And rightfully so, they should. The Rams, like I said before, we know that they're not a good team. But to kind of put it all together like that, really kind of play at each level, honestly, the best that you could play at each level. Yes. They look good. Like, this is the type of team, like, if they show up like this is the team where I can see when people say, like, oh yes, they are a contender, this is the year, right? But unfortunately, they only do this against bad teams. But that being said, they did dominate, they did ball out, and so that's got to be my best for this week.
Yeah, and they got CeeDee Lamb involved finally, right? I know he's had a couple of games here and there, but you got to get him the ball. He's too good of a wide receiver to be second fiddle to Brandon Cooks or Michael Gallup, right? This guy he's a stud. So I was very impressed. I told the people I was watching with, no one has better games. No one has higher highs and lower lows than Dak Prescott. He's either like the best quarterback you've ever watched, or like, what is this guy doing on a screen? So I enjoy watching him. I still think Dak is a decent, above average, above Kirk Cousins level type quarterback. So that's where I'm going to sit with Dak right now. I don't know what rank that is, but that's where I'm going. Right. The worst. I'll start hit you with my worst, and then I'm gonna put it out there, and then I think you might have a couple of words to add to it. But my worst is the Kansas City Chiefs. This was this was the most shocking game by far this year for me, especially even watching the Packers lose to the Raiders. That was pretty shocking, but this one was wild. We seen this game not 2 weeks ago, right? And it was close, but it was never out of Kansas City's control. They kind of not dominated. They kind of ran this one. This time, I never felt like the Chiefs had any hope of winning. It seemed like right away the Chiefs looked defeated. They looked unprepared. It was like, and the sad part is the defense that we've been trotting about, we've been talking about, this has arrived, right? Where did they go? They just took a game off. It looked like I was watching 2018's defense out there. They could not be, the running game. They ran wild. I don't know what the numbers really look like, but just watching the game, it was like they ran wild. The Jerry Jeudy, who's been kind of a non-factor for him, decided to pop off. Courtland Sutton made huge catches on third down. And then your offense, only scoring 3 field goals, not scoring a touchdown with the best quarterback in the NFL. It was just a very sad, unprepared game to watch from Kansas City, especially against an opponent that they had a chance to make it a league record of 17 straight victories against a divisional opponent, right? League record, everything hanging in there. I know it was at Denver, so maybe that was but a place that Pat Mahomes hasn't lost at yet. This is his first loss there. And I think the most embarrassing thing is I heard there's a rumor going around, right? A Chiefs fans told me there's a rumor going around that the Chiefs prepared half of the week for the Broncos, half of the week for the Dolphins, right? When you're not there, when you're not focusing completely on on the opponent, this is still the NFL, right? Teams will get you like that. So I'm going to put, if that's true, right? It's just a rumor that'll never, we'll probably never figure it out. But if this is true that they overlooked the Broncos, this is a very poor coaching job because, the Chiefs tend to do this probably once a year, right? Last year they lost to the worst quarterback in the NFL, Matt Ryan led Colts, right? Where they overlooked the Colts. So this is just a game the Chiefs overlooked. And again, you're allowed to have one bad game.
Yeah, so I guess I'll hop in there. We got my new cap, Ice White cheesecake hat on. Just got it this week. Hopes to bring us some good luck to kind of turn some things around. But let me just yeah, I guess I'll touch on the defense real quick because I guess I disagree with you completely about the defense being 2018 defense because we only gave up. They scored 24 points, but it was 14 points until the fourth quarter. And every single time that they scored, they started either on midfield or plus side of the field due to turnovers. So whenever it was a normal kickoff, like after a field goal or something like that, the defense was shut out, right? We had McCole Harmon fumble the ball on like the 12-yard line, so they were able to score. Mahomes had a couple interceptions that were returned. That last one was returned almost all the way there, so they're able, to score. There was the MVS fumble, like those things like that, to where the offense was putting the defense in a terrible position, but the defense had the offense's back. Right at the very end, right, they get that strip sack to allow them to go down and kick a field goal. You think, okay, boom, we're going to go ahead and get in some momentum. Whenever the Broncos are about to kick a field goal to make it a 2-score game, we get a blocked kick, to put it back on. So every single time the defense did something to help the offense, to keep us in the game, to give it to the offense, to put the ball in the best player in the NFL's hands, we just couldn't do it. And it was just terrible. So I don't think the defense played poorly at all. I think the defense was put in crappy position after crappy position. They made plays when they needed to turn over and get points off the board, and the offense just couldn't capitalize on that, right? This is just coming off of like last week when we dominated the Chargers on offense from start to finish. I thought, okay, here we are, the Chiefs back, and then boom, we dropped this dud against the freaking Donkeys. It was just this was more frustrating to watch than I guess probably because we were losing all the time, but then the first Broncos game. But what I was really concerned with was the offensive line. The offensive line didn't look good at all this game. Mahomes was sacked 3 times. He was pressured a lot. He was running around there, and that was kind of what I was kind of scratching my head at. I didn't think the offensive line played well at all. Obviously, there was some drops. They had that 4th and 2 touchdown pass to Sky Moore that he dropped. I see a lot of people saying, listen, when you see a wide receiver open for a touchdown, you have to do it. I'm more of the mindset where it's 4th down, just get the first down, right? Yes. Live to fight another day because, if whatever does happen, they do drop it, like you're done, right? Just pick up the 2 yards, then go again. I can understand you have a guy wide open in the end zone, why not take that shot? But when it's a 4th down, you don't need the touchdown there. You can get the 4th down and keep doing it, keep going. Obviously it's hindsight, right? Sky Moore catches it at the touchdown, great, fantastic, woohoo, right? So I can understand that, but I just think I would have gone short yardage play. Let me just get the first down and then keep going. They did that, and then we just never really able to get the ball back. When we do, we get sacked. It's like 3rd and 50, right? And Mahomes just kind of 4th and 50. Mahomes just kind of throws up that last interception. It was basically a punt, just kind of a hope and a prayer. But the offense was just stuck in a rut the entire game and just could not get out. No matter what the defense did, no matter what the special teams were doing to help keep us in the game, to give us opportunities, we just couldn't do it. And so we've seen kind of this roller coaster here with the Chiefs where they play really well, they fall. They play really well, and they fall. Right? We went Bears, Broncos the first game, Chargers, Broncos the second time. So now that means we're on the up and up, which means against the Dolphins it's going to be a woo. So that I'm excited. I'm looking forward to. Obviously, my new hat, lucky hat. So we'll be fine moving forward. But yeah, man, it's just a tough. Whenever you can't, get in the end zone and score any points, touchdowns, it's just a tough thing to watch. So got to get back on track. They got a long flight to Germany to get their heads right. We'll see if they're able to screw it on and kind of get out there and play well against a good Miami's offense team that we'll preview here in a bit. But yeah, it's tough to lose to a division opponent in general. But it's definitely tough to lose to the Broncos. But I got to give the Broncos credit; they showed up and we didn't.
Yes.
But let's be honest, that was their Super Bowl. That was the Broncos Super Bowl. They're not going to play that good the rest of the season.
No.
They wanted that more than they wanted anything, and rightfully so. Right, 15 straight losses is terrible. Right, you're going to want to get that win. So they're able to finally do it because we didn't show up to play our best ball, and that's on us.
Yeah. I think that's the motto, right? I didn't pick the Broncos as my best, right? Because the Chiefs played, just like we were talking about the Lions last week. One team showed up and one team didn't. It's sad that when the Broncos showed up, like this was the best game they put together by far, right? And maybe that's why I thought the defense was down. They had, Russell Wilson was a better passer and they had more rushing yards on the ground this game against against the Packers last week, and the Packers defense is really, really bad at stopping the run. So maybe that's why I thought they didn't show up. But because I just looked, they did get 6 sacks. I think 2 of them was those fainting goat where Russell Wilson ran out of the ends, right? He ran out of the sidelines like on 11 yards away from the line of scrimmage, so he didn't get hit. I don't know what that was about, but it was just a sad showing from the Chiefs, and then the Broncos came to play, make the Broncos look decent at best. But I don't expect the Broncos to spark any, victory hopes or anything, right? They're not going to turn around their season. The Broncos are who we think they are. This is just a bad showing for the Chiefs. They didn't play like who we thought they are.
This is always like 5 turnovers. You're not going to win a game when you turn over the ball 5 times. And this is what I've always said, right? Good teams can only beat themselves, right? You're not playing well. You don't show up. You turn the ball over. You're doing all these different things. It's no matter what you do, you just lose because you beat yourself, right? So obviously, reset the page, move on to the next one. I can tell you that everybody on that team is pissed. And I think it's primed to go scorch earth against the Dolphins. So we'll see kind of how that materializes. But I'm expecting big things from our offense on Sunday and over there in Germany. I really am. I'll be shocked if we played anywhere close to what we saw last Sunday against the Broncos.
Yeah. Against that dynamic Dolphins, you need to show up, right? You cannot lay a stinker.
Can't do it.
So
can't do it. Well, let me go ahead and give you my worst. And that's going to be the Battle of New York. The New York Jets and New York Giants. That has to be the worst game of football ever played. Maybe the Patriots and Rams Super Bowl is up there, but this game was terrible. 24 total punts. 24. I just can't even fathom that. Like this, that neither team could get going. Obviously, with the Giants, right, their second string Tyrod Taylor gets injured, they have to go to the third string guy. You can argue like, okay, maybe they're not going to be as dynamic. But what was wrong with the freaking Jets? They had everybody on offense, and they couldn't put up points, yards against the freaking Giants. Like, that is terrible. Has to go into overtime. I was like, man, the worst thing this could do is end in a tie. That would be the worst thing ever. Obviously, the Jets, get the game winning field goal there. But This stat, so 24 punts is crazy, but this stat is even crazier. Jace, how is this possible? The Giants finished the game with -9 passing yards. -9 passing yards. Their leading receiver was Darren Waller with 1 catch for only 4 yards.
Dang.
Like if you show me that, I would say you're freaking lying. Like, there's no way that that's real, right? They just have to run the ball with Saquon Barkley like 50 times because they just can't pass the ball at all. And finishing it with -9 passing yards, leading receiver only has 4 yards. That's just ridiculous. But worst game of football so far this year.
By far.
Maybe worst game of football ever. But that's my worst. The Battle of New York was just terrible. That was
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.